Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast once again. Hey, Mark, how you doing out there?
Hey, Howie. Good. We survived the mega storm. We got like 3 inches of snow here. It was a total joke.
Your fall weather storm.
I know, but the place in Maine, for those who don't know, I have a place in Maine. They're going to on their third foot in the last 2.5 days. So
yeah, different story up there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different story up there. But they're used to it. They go to school. They get 3 feet of snow. They go to school. So
yeah. Here in Vegas, we get snow and, everything stops.
Exactly. Even the gambling stops.
Yeah, slows down.
Yeah.
Anyway, our topic today, we were discussing this, I don't know how long ago, but, dentists seem to often have questions about how to take care of patients who refer to them.
Right. Or how to ask them for
that too. Right. Exactly. And there's questions about illegality and what your dental board's going to do and what you can say in advertising, this and that and the other thing. So generally, it's kind of a hot topic. So let's cover that today, if that's all right with you.
No. That sounds, and we get this. It's one of those questions that seems to circle. It seems to come around. It's like bell bottoms, right? It comes around every so often. The question comes and the discussion comes, and the question is how do I best ask my patients for referrals? That's one of the questions. Another question is how do I best reward my patients who refer? And another question is how do I create an incentive to get my patients to refer?
Right.
So let's take the third one first, because number one and number two are pretty much answered, or at least mostly answered, if we address number three first. So the question is how do I create an incentive to generate more referrals from my existing patient base? And actually, referrals from your existing patient base is why when we build marketing plans, we allocate X dollars a year out of the budget, usually about 10% of the budget. And we always put it into internal promotion for this very specific reason. Okay. It never is a bad idea to properly promote the benefits of the dentistry that you provide, or your conveniences, or your technologies, or whatever other marketable attributes you have to your existing patients. It's just never a bad investment. So, and what happens in result of that investment is you get really two things. You get additional treatment acceptance from your existing patient base. That's number one. Number two, you get additional new patients from your existing patient base through their referrals of family, friend, coworkers, almost anyone they run into, if they become happy and become vocal advocates of your dental practice.
You also get another thing. You get lowered expenses. It's much cheaper
to
generate patients from your already existing patient base than it is to go out and generate patients from strangers.
And that's what a marketing company does, is they try to minimize risk and minimize cost to generate a higher ROI. So that's part of this whole part of everything that we do is centered around, creating a group of advocates really out of your patient base. So how do we give them an incentive? Well, I'm going to stop the dentists right there. And we're going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to say that as of the last time that we looked, asking or openly soliciting referrals from your existing patient base, especially when creating an incentive to do so, is way against your state board regs in 32 states. So I don't know what state you're from, but if you were on, let's say, a roulette table, about half the numbers or more, you would have more than half, well, 2/3 of the numbers would take you out. So be very careful when trying to create an incentive, and certainly communicating it in an open manner, let's say through written word, emails, social media, what have you. Because if that gets picked up on by a dentist in your state and they see that and they report you, you will get a nasty gram from your state board.
Right.
So now there's a secondary reason besides a state board letter. And this falls, and we didn't even know this while we were testing this that many years ago. We sought out to test what works and what doesn't work, just like we always do with everything, right? And when it comes to internal promotion through referral, obviously you're going to try to test everything. So what we found is that we couldn't really nail down why incentives didn't work, because we did them during our testing. Yeah, they didn't work as well as not using them, and we always wondered why. And then we came to the realization of the two really different types of relationships that your patients want or are seeking from you. And it's very similar to the different types of relationships that consumers want or seek out through other healthcare providers and even other businesses. It doesn't even have to be in healthcare. And those two relationship types are transactional relationship types and social relationship types.
Right. Two different things.
So who was the guy that brought that? We stumbled upon this actually, Howie, after we did our testing. It was one of those aha moments where where somebody actually writes down the reason why all the stuff you spent all that money trying didn't work.
Yeah, we figured it out, on the spreadsheet. But then, a fellow by the name of Dan Airley came along and really, put it down in words. So basically, it was Dan Airley is a professor of behavioral economics at Duke University and wrote a book years ago called Predictably Irrational: The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions. And in it, he gives this really funny story, this example, but it perfectly illustrates the difference between, say, a market norm or a transactional norm versus a social norm or a social transaction. And it goes like this: say you're at your in-laws for Thanksgiving dinner, and your mother-in-law has prepared this fantastic meal, and it's just wonderful. Everybody just loves it, and you decide that your mother-in-law deserves some sort of reward for this, and you pull out 3 $100 bills and you hand it to her. What happens next? Well, she's probably insulted that you would offer her money for doing something that she was, doing anyway, and from her heart. And yet you're trying to turn that into some sort of transaction, a monetary kind of transaction, and it just doesn't fit. It's like the proverbial dead cat at a wedding. It just doesn't work, and you're very likely not going to be invited back next year. So that's that's the difference. And dentists can stumble into that mistake by confusing the two transactions. And they can do that by getting mixed up in rewarding their patients for doing something that they're probably perfectly willing to do anyway if you just ask.
Right. And this is for years, 20 some years, I've been talking to dentists about how they ask their patients for, referrals of friends and family and coworkers. And most of them feel weird asking. Right.
Yeah.
And that's, and because, so I want to just reflect back to how weird that feels to ask. And you feel kind of salesy, right? You feel kind of schmarmy, right? Doing it.
It's not a doctory thing to do.
It's not a doctory thing to do, right? So this, what you're feeling when you feel weird asking is exactly what this guy was writing. You have a social relationship with a human being. It's no longer transaction-based.
Right.
You sat there and you worked with them, talked to them, got to know them, asked them how their daughter was doing in camp or whatever stories, talked about the sports, last game, the Super Bowl, the weather, the snow, whatever you were talking to them about. This is now a social engagement. This is no longer a transactional engagement. So what this gentleman was talking about was when the end of that social engagement happens and you ask for an additional transaction, it just feels odd.
Right. It confuses them. It just feels
odd. It confuses them. It feels odd to you. Now you can take this further and you can say, well, we have this can out front, and if we put your name in it, we're going to put your name in it every time you send us a referral, and we're going to do a drawing for an iPad. Okay. Well, now you just changed a wonderful social relationship that your patient actually does feel, and you made it transactional again.
Right.
Okay. So
well, and there's another pitfall too.
Right.
It's kind of the other side of the, there's a canyon here and you can't run into the walls. There's another wall. If you fail to acknowledge a patient who has sent you, then you're toast.
You're done.
Okay. He didn't even thank me. I sent him my brother and he didn't even thank me.
Right.
Right. So you've got to thank them and you've got to incentivize them. But you see how it's a confusing area. It's
right. So now I'm going to take it to another social. This is a very realistic, probably extremely sexist, but nobody's ever accused me of being politically correct anyway. So I'm going to ask the audience to look into their own lives, their own interactions with their spouses or their significant others. And I'm going to ask you, what feels better? To receive a gift when you know you're supposed to receive a gift, like your birthday or your anniversary or Valentine's Day.
Hey, that's today.
That's today, right? Or does it feel better when the gift comes from the heart, out of the blue, on some random Thursday, right?
Right.
So if you ask a woman that question, this is the sexist part. If you ask a woman that question, 99.9999999% of women are going to say, no, man, send me the gift. Give me the gift from your heart on a random day. That means more than my birthday, let's say, or Valentine's Day, or Christmas, or whatever holidays that you're a part of. So here's how to do it right. Here's how to avoid this trap of thinking you have to create an incentive. You create the incentive on the back end by rewarding properly. Okay, that's how it works. So Mrs. Jones comes into the office, and Mrs. Jones has been a patient for a while. She came in for her cleaning appointment. And after her cleaning appointment and exam, the doctor finds no additional work necessary. And the hygienist looks at Mrs. Jones and says, "Hey, Mary, how do you like it here?" And Mary says, "I love it here. I keep coming back. You guys are awesome. You're always happy. I love this place." So the hygienist says, "Here, Mary, here, I got these things for you. These are gifts. You can give them to anybody you want. They could be your family, your friend, your mom, your dad, doesn't matter. Somebody at work maybe who might be looking for a great dental office. These are like Kohl's Cash. You can just give them to anybody that you know, and put them up on your refrigerator at home and then just grab them when you need them." So Mrs. Jones goes, "Oh, thanks." And she goes home and she puts these things up on her refrigerator, assuming it's not stainless steel. If it is, she puts them in her takeout menu drawer because magnets don't stick to stainless steel. And she puts them there and she pulls them out when she needs them. Now, when she uses them, Bobby Jones, former 76er, he comes into the office and says, "Yeah, my wife referred me to your practice. She says you guys are great. I haven't been to the dentist in 4,000 years, and I guess now's the time." So Bobby Jones comes in, you update the database, referred by Mary Jones. Now this is where the surprise gift comes in. This is where the incentive comes in, but you don't use the incentive up front.
No, you don't tell them.
You don't tell them it's coming.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like you don't tell your wife when you're going to get her a bouquet of flowers for no reason at all on a random Thursday. You don't call your wife and tell her that. If you are, beat your head against the wall. Okay. So Mary refers Bobby Jones. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, Mary gets a gift totally out of the blue. And it's a thoughtful gift. It could be a Visa card. It could be a movie ticket. It could be anything, really. It could be local community theater. It could be literally anything that you get from around town from your local merchants, right? Maybe it's a business that you have a cross referral relationship with. Wonder how that would work, right? But the point is that Mary gets this and she is totally, completely surprised. She didn't know she was going to get this when she referred Bobby. Now, how much of an incentive do you think Mary has to take those referral brochures and use them more often now? That's a hell of a lot more motivation than if you actually told her what she was going to get before she referred Bobby.
Right. We're going to give you $50 credit. Well, that sounds pretty good. Who wouldn't like that? But you don't even do that. This works much better than a $50 credit.
Much better.
Much better.
Much better. Okay.
And you keep the money out of it.
Yeah.
And maintain the social connection that you have with your patient.
That's right. That's right. And it's between you and them. Nobody else. This isn't something that you brag about on your website or your social media.
No.
Or anywhere else. This is between you and Mary. Okay. You can brag about maybe the Smiles for Life campaign that you're sponsoring, or maybe the trip to New Guinea, okay, that you took to help the poor in that country with their health care. You can obviously, make a big deal of those things, but not one-on-one social interactions with people. They want to keep that private. And by doing it the way we just suggested, here's what will happen. You and your team aren't going to feel schmarmy. Okay.
Right.
This is not against your social principles at all. Okay. Hey, Mary, how do you like it here? Well, I like it here. You guys are always happy. Well, here's some free gifts. You can give these to anybody that you know, husband, friends, family, coworkers, whoever. And, just put them in your takeout menu drawer, throw them up on your refrigerator, and grab one whenever you need them. Because we'd love to fill our practice with people just like you, Mary. That's it, man. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to say, right? So now, there are some practice management principles with this technique. If you notice at the beginning of this, I said that Mary Mary had her cleaning and there was no additional operative treatment necessary, that's one of the 2 times that you would present these referral rewards to your existing patients, right? The other time is when, let's say it's Mary and she just had a whole bunch of work done, and the next appointment is going to be for routine 6-month recare. So here are the 2 times. When the patient has completed their operative treatment and is ready for routine recare, and when the recare visit showed no reason to come in for additional operative treatment. Those are the 2 times your patients are the happiest with you, when they're done their treatment and when they need no additional treatment other than professional cleaning. Okay? So if you do this at those intervals and you make it social, just like I just mentioned, okay? Because it is a social transaction. If you're a dentist listening to this, if you don't think staring into somebody's mouth for a half hour or 45 minutes, 4 inches away with instruments and all kinds of stuff going, if you don't think that's personal, you're crazy, okay? Dentistry is about as personal, as upfront and in your face as you can possibly, right, Howie?
Oh yeah, I mean it's invasive.
It's invasive.
Okay, I mean, there's no way around it. It has to be, but dentists get immune to that. They don't understand that they are literally in people's faces.
Right. The whole time.
And that when a person, even a friend, comes up and stands too close to you, you get kind of like, hey dude, back off. I have my personal space. Well, you violate their personal space every day,
right, multiple times a day,
and you're immune to it, but they're not.
Right, they're not immune, and they've chosen to allow you into that close.
Yeah,
that's a pretty amazing stretch, right? So they're look at you on a social level after the first visit. They're not looking at you at the transactional level. Okay, now I'm going to just throw in one little point. Maybe we can discuss this on the Dental Marketing Mastery community on Facebook, our Facebook group. But this same transactional versus social relationship, this measurement that human beings make to determine where they go, what they buy, what they like, what they listen to, even their partners in life. You can say the same. Remember, we always have said, when we still maintain, that the dental market is split in half: moms who will choose a healthcare provider based on price and moms who will not. The dental market is split in half by moms who are looking for a social relationship with a dentist and moms who are looking with a transactional relationship with a dentist. Okay, so that should make far more sense to you right now than it ever did before. It doesn't just relate to attracting new patients. It also relates heavily on how you interact with your existing patients, how those existing patients accept treatment, and how those existing patients refer others.
Exactly.
So you're going to give us a snappy close, Howie?
Well, did you want to make an announcement about our new Facebook thing, or did we already announce that?
Well, we did, I think, last time, but we might as well do it again. It's our podcast. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Hey, that's right.
That's right. Right. Facebook Dental Marketing Mastery Community. Just do a search. Ask to be included. We will probably include you unless you don't want to be included. And come on in for the discussion, because after each podcast, after people read our book, after they take their 7 hours of our dental marketing summit material there, our book is there too for a download. So after people are getting educated, they're asking questions, and we have a discussion going on weekly about certain topics. So everyone listening, you're welcome to come join us.
Yeah, good. And on that note, we will close this podcast, and we'll look forward to the next one. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed our podcast today. You can find more podcasts on our YouTube channel, on Stitcher, and iTunes. Also on our websites dentalwebcontent.com and newpatientsinc.com.